Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, I've decided we will not, in fact, be plunging ourselves into multiple streams of scalding hot steam. In studying the patterns off-screen, I cannot figure out how we're supposed to get through there without instantly crippling whoever we send in. So, we've got a perfectly viable path just over this way. I figure we'll follow that for a bit. See if we can perhaps find some way to shut down or bypass that hazard. Failing that, we can always just circle back later as needed, once things have heated up enough to hit that boiling point. I mean, we do have trauma kits, but we really shouldn't squander them if we don't have to. So yeah, we'll... for now, at least, we will follow the path of less resistance. Though I'm sure that'll come with its own pitfalls and hazards as well. The screen of this cogitator shows a scrolling line of repeating technolingua. Staring at the obscure symbols gives you a headache.
Pay attention.
Ooh. The 16 Universal Laws. The Warnings. A tome containing warnings of the Omnissiah. Unshakable tenets of the Adeptus Mechanicus hidden from the eyes of laymen, with a special binaric cipher. Interesting. And once again, marked as a quest item, but not something we can otherwise do anything with. At least, not yet. Well, hello there. The massive Magos, clad in ritual garb, lets out a binaric trill and turns to you. From beneath the deep hood of his mantle, two dimly lit eye implants gaze out at you. You hear another binaric tirade, this time clearly addressed at you. Cubus Delphine, I take it. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. I don't suppose you come with high Gothic subtitles.
Primitive creature, devoid of true knowledge. Could it be one of the slaves who escaped imprisonment? Kneel, servant, before the master of Kiava Gamma.
You must have missed a critical update, my friend. Theodora has passed. Emperor rest her soul. You have the honor of speaking to the rightful ruler of this place, Valen von Valancius.
You are one of the troglodytes who once had the gall to oppress my comrades and resist my will. A messenger from the barbarian who drank the sacred unguents, bestowed upon her through others' toil. Very well, then. Your appearance is the perfect opportunity to teach your ilk a lesson. My name is Cubus Delphine. I once held the title of Fabricator-Censor of the Kiava Gamma Manufactorum. But I rejected it, along with the other fetters that hindered progress. Once my faith was flawed and led naive fools from the Cult Mechanicus into the darkness of ignorance. Now I am this world's master, and serve the true gods. You tread upon their territory, and you do not number among their legion servants. Therefore, you must be subject to immediate disposal. As the senior functioning member of the priesthood of Mars, I, Magos Explorator Pascal Hanuman, declare this temple to the machine god compromised, and forthwith forbid all service within it. I dethrone the Fabricator Censor, the ignorant heretic who has betrayed the Omnissiah, and condemn as anathema any and all standard procedures implemented by him. Let the cycle of the blasphemous operations he has put in motion be discontinued.
Pascal switches to binaric, and you can hear dissonance burgeoning in the depths of the Forge Cathedral. Some of the giant mechanisms heed his order and go still, while others, obeying the fabricator sensor's will, continue their work. Crashes, explosions, and the clanging of crumpling metal signify that some dissent among the machines has interrupted the manufactorum's production cycle.
Hanuman. Liar, you are not him. Demence Hanuman obeys me. His mind is open to the voices of the void, and the scrap code he created protects my world. And I'll not have you, rusted refuse from the misfit caste of explorators, call me ignorant. This statement is false. Your regalia have been revoked. You have been deemed defective and will be eliminated.
Pascal turns to you and says dryly,
Initiating heretic search designation, Demence Hanuman. I wish to execute the retribution procedure.
Sounds good to me. We'll keep an eye out. Well, Fabricator Delphine, sounds like you just got demoted, so I should be looking for the next person in line. What about Governor Goprak? I don't suppose he's still alive out here somewhere?
The removal of unserviceable artifacts was the first step toward retooling this world. Only my tech comrades heeded the call of truth that reached into their cogitators and allowed them to pierce the veil of empty dogmas.
Oh, I see. Well, that is a shame, though it is nice to know I actually had a governor who wasn't a traitor. So that's it then? You turned away from the cold logic of profit to pursue what? The unknowable inanity of the Elder Gods? I've got to say, Delphine, I was led to believe you were slightly smarter than that. The Fabricator sensor's vox lets out a piercing, barely audible sound that makes your insides shudder.
I will rip out your spinal column and braid it around my staff, you arrogant creature.
Well, see, that's just a waste of a perfectly good spinal column. All right, Delphine. Sounds like we're not really going to end up seeing eye to eye on this one. Don't worry, though. I'll put your remains to good use. We'll make you a sump pump or something. One way or another, you'll still serve the Omnissiah in the end.
You may be driven by your will to fight, but know this. Kiava Gamma has already been converted. Its lines have been restructured, and its servants have already tasted the fruits of progress. In the crucibles of this manufactorum, torrid liquid metals will be used to forge vessels for sacred spirits. The adepts are already tirelessly delving deeper into new mysteries that were once barred by false tenets. You, servants of fake gods, are too late. The entire might of this world will soon rise up against the anathema and his slaves.
Uh-huh, sure, yeah, that definitely sounds like a thing that's going to happen. Well, you'd best get to it then. I'd wager you've got 2, maybe 3 hours before I track you down and ventilate your brain case. You can't possibly think I'd let you get away with killing all these people.
Imperfect machines merit elimination, as do living elements prone to vulnerabilities, such as sentimentality. Comrades, purge the manufactorum of any random variables. I must prepare for the culmination of our great work.
Cut the outsiders! Let their blood mix with oil! Truth! Conceal the path from the impious!
He seemed nice. Alright, so we now have a face for our Forge World foe. A shame to lay all those augments to waste, but... you know, after everything we've been through, I think we know to be hard wary about anything tainted with quite that much chaos. Speaking of which, we've got hordes of corrupted Skitarii blocking our path. 4 above. We've got a door over here, obvious detour path. We'll check that out first. At the very least, that should be some unscheduled loot, but it may very well provide us with a tactical advantage. Did we just... Oh, there it is. Okay. Tricky, tricky. Oh, and another. In front of this interactive console, so clearly something they don't want us interacting with.
I always keep my options open.
More corrupt code, sure. And a demo point. Okay, so we'll try the keys first, before we start busting through walls. As you approach the cogitator, you notice a number of deep scratches left by huge claws on its metal surfaces. Despite the apparent damage, the machine seems to be in working condition. The logs contain nothing of interest. The maintenance ritual schedule for the sacred machine that moves the bridge, an activation log, and a few notes of a religious nature entered by tech priests. You touch the levers and reels on the control panel and disturb the slumber of the spirits that reside within this cogitator. The machine dawdles as if still drowsy, but nevertheless performs its assigned function. Nice. Okay. Well, that was easy. The cogitator is silent, awaiting new commands. No, I think we're good. Let's charge our way through. Oh. Actually, flubbed that check. No injury, though. Just a slight wound. We'll go ahead and patch that just in case.
But of course, Lord Captain.
There is an occasional display error when it comes to fresh injuries or traumas. Though I think in this particular case we are actually okay. Let's see what else we've got here. Ooh. Melta Ultima. A Melta as designed by Lord British. Plus a Staff of Blood. Okay. Well, that's a nice get for Heinrix, which we might use once ever. I've actually got him equipped with a default lightning staff right now in his off slot just for a range option, but this higher tier bio staff might actually be worth using. The big problem with the first one was just that it rarely had any significant chance of actually working, but perhaps a higher tier version will fare slightly better. Something is howling within the metal housing, as if the machine spirits of this cogitator are lamenting some irreparable loss. Your knowledge of machine spirits is sufficient to trick the system and subdue it to your will. You gain access to the cogitator systems. The device's machine spirit can do nothing to thwart you. Subdued by its defeat, it hides in the depths of its lair. You touch the levers and reels on the control panel and reawaken the slumbering machine spirit. Oh! You know, I was going to say I don't much care that they're recycling some of these text blurbs, but... you know, in retrospect, sometimes you just gotta take things a la carte. I mean, that aside, they've got a pretty decent track record when it comes to original narrative material. Certainly not enough for me to really rail against. Wow, that really, honestly, kind of trivializes this whole fight. So that just leaves us with 8. Split into 2 groups, 4 and 4 on either side. Nine. We still have the heretic up top. Oh, okay. Really got him over a barrel on that one. Alright, let's get Heinrix on right. We'll have him hold this group. And then we'll slap Pascal on the stairs on left to hold this crew. And then the rest will just focus down the heretic. Should make for a fairly swift and decisive skirmish. Though, honestly, even if the group below had survived, I can't imagine that would have padded things out much. Even had they not met a premature reckoning. Pask up first. Let's get pass tack going.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
Six stacks. We'll take it. Oh, wow. Yeah, this'll be quick. Cass up next. We'll get Heinrich set up.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Should we pull them in first? No, we'll set up buffs. Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, getting some weirdness with the AoEs here. But not a big deal. We'll set counterattack stance instead. And now we have reason to pull. Oh, shoot. Okay, well. You know what? We'll just pin down the heretic instead. Make sure he doesn't go running off. And set zones.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Adira's up. Let's shout down the competition.
Was that you? Or...
Oh, okay. And once again, getting some weirdness with our zones here. But we can still use single target.
They who discern the future on the battlefield.
Nice tag, but not quite enough. Can we fire off a trap? Hey, there we go.
This tedium is beneath me.
Weird. Weird, weird, weird. But ultimately, it doesn't really slow us down all that much. Though I am now noticing we do actually have line of sight going down the stairs above us. Not that that's have to really slow us down all that much either.
I understand your intent.
Heretic out. Nice. Also nice.
Suffering is part of the trial.
Minor ding on Pask. Oh yeah, and look at that. Looks like we actually had a whole squad survive. Including an extra heretic. Did we already warp speed Heinrix? Yes, we did. But yes, notice the Spirit Drape is still in effect, because we are still technically on turn 1. That'll be really handy once we pass it back off to Adira. Though I will admit, Heinrix actually makes decent use of it too. Adira's just got a more focused build. Oh, weird. Yeah, see, we can't even do cleave attacks. There's something there that's partially blocking AoEs. Val moving up. Let's trim the edges. Actually, you know what? Let's try killing Edge. Oh, wow. Okay. That was actually pretty solid, considering the minimal setup. Though it does count as our primary attack. So that's something to keep in mind.
I'll make it happen.
Okay, so that guy will bleed out. Ask up next. Finish this guy. Prep for incoming. We've got 2 right around the corner.
Request approved.
Plus these 2. Nice. Killzone's not bad. I do like having it on tap.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Let's free up Heinrix. We'll sick him on the guys below.
If I may.
Actually, we do have momentum. You know what? Let's reach for the stars. And Heinrich's freed. Holy moly, look at that. That is absurd.
I won't object to it.
Wow, I mean, Heinrichs, man, I really don't want to be impressed, but that is some grade A Skitari scattering. These poor bozos never stood a chance, even with the wonky terrain. Alright, let's wrap this up.
Will do. Be gone.
High momentum.
Swift and silent. If it serves your cause.
And look at that, we've got momentum again. Light ding on Heinrichs. How you doing? No injury, no trauma. I've got to say, you know, I'm honestly surprised. I really just kind of designed this Heinrichs as a half-assed Abby. But he is bringing the heat.
Let's see to it.
At least based on his performance thus far. We'll see how he holds up for the rest of Kiava Gamma. The marks of chaos seem to draw your eye and strike terror in you at the same time. Do they? I mean, yeah, I guess. Mazoa pattern arc rifle, okay. I will say, I was honestly surprised that that's not covered by the Pinnacle of Weaponry talent. Apparently, Pinnacle of Weaponry only covers plasma, melta, and power weapons.
Oh, too hard for a simple monkey.
Otherwise, I might be tempted to toss this to Pascal. More cargo. We'll take that. Right, and that's where we came in. That's where we talked to Cubist Delphine. So our bridge is over here?
Always keep your eye on the prize.
So I guess we're headed that way next. The broken panel of the cogitator is sparking, its blind, dark screens showing nothing. Right, so we would have had to go in the side room regardless. Interesting. Oh, hi there. Dying tech priest. This pile of human remains, carelessly tossed together, emits a suffocating stench. The torn, gutted bodies once belonged to tech priests, but you cannot spot even a glint of metal anywhere. All their implants are gone. Suddenly, one of the ravaged bodies makes the tiniest movement. The tortured man's lips move ever so slightly, his half-closed eyelids twitching. The man can barely breathe without his respirator implant. It is a miracle he survived the horrific vivisection. But it takes you a single look at the gaping wounds where the augment was ripped out to realize death is only a matter of time. As if having sensed your presence, the half-dead man looks at you and sharply inhales the hot air.
Machine spirit, deliver me.
The binaric requiem coming from Pascal's Vox sounds solemn and grim. Upon hearing it, the man's mutilated face twists into a weak semblance of a smile. I'm sorry, honored tech brother. There's nothing we can do. Who did this?
My comrades.
His voice is barely audible. It seems each word takes the man a great deal of effort.
Machine spirit, has the Omnissiah truly abandoned us? Kiava Gamma has fallen into the maw of the eternal enemy. The holy Magi, they succumbed to heresy. The rest were stripped of their true flesh to feed the heresy. Preserve us. Deliver us. Deliver me from erring. Sacrifice living blood from vessels of the true flesh, while their heart is still beating. After that, oblivion.
His eyes grow glassy.
I knew you would come. I've waited so very long. Deliver me from my torment.
Urliette's alien, harsh features are graced with something strikingly similar to grief and compassion. Such senseless savagery.
I attest that the 3 categorical requirements for assigning the status of Martyr of the Faith have been met. Opposition to the enemy, preservation of adherence to dogma, and a brutal death. Requesting the right to extract the subject's organic matter for it to be used in the creation of an honorable servo skull.
The man, who is minutes from death, wheezes weakly.
It's an honor. I am thankful for the right to serve.
Oh, geez, okay. I mean, reflexively, I want to say no, but at the same time, this is a unique situation in that it is not so much servitorization as it is an actual honored fate for a servant of the Omnissiah, one that is being both offered and accepted by people that Valen would respect. So, despite his personal distaste for servitors, I feel like Valen would, with his Forge World upbringing, allow this? Leaning over the dying man, Pascal, in a decisive yet surprisingly respectful motion, cuts his throat. Wielding a long scalpel, it takes him mere moments to release the cervical vertebrae from the hold of muscles and sinew, and to cut the vertebrae, severing the head from the body. Lovely.
Let your service continue, Tech Comrade.
Well, that's one way to get ahead in service to the Omnissiah. Which nets us yet another flavor of Servo Skull, just a glorified cosmetic. But you know what? It does feel fitting to have that thing following us around as we avenge the fallen of Kiava Gamma. Welcome aboard, bud. Wish I'd gotten a name. The device, now evidently used to chop bodies into pieces, was once an ordinary cooling fan. Right. Based on positioning, I'm guessing to baptize whatever heretic they're constructing in blood as it rolls down the assembly line.
Keep your wits about you.
I'm still new to the art of exploring.
The Cogitator's panel has dozens of breakers, buttons, handles, switches, and other control mechanisms. You discover the local data crypt with contents collected by either previous operators or the machine spirit itself. Right. Supply protocol. At first glance, the records look like a typical shipping report, but after further reading it becomes apparent that the focus here is not ore or assembly parts, but augments extracted from living tech priests, and spent mass, the flesh of the victims killed either during or for the sake of machine rituals. Production protocol. The log looks damaged, the lines are uneven, and some of the values seem impossible. After a few minutes of studying the records, you feel your head begin to swim. The stored data can only be comprehended by a twisted mind, touched by chaos corruption. Ascension Protocol. This record looks like a sermon of some mad chaos worshipper. The log, clearly written from someone else's words, mentions the heart that exudes virtue and the cradle that rocks the child of truth. Interesting. I mean, hard to really parse, but obviously we saw at least some of that in motion just a moment ago. There's our platform. Surprising lack of resistance. I really figured there'd be a second wave here. Though we do have some traps, so let's get that taken care of.
None are better at searching. I have learned much in my exile.
Okay. Approach seems to be clear. Central terminal. That's our rotation controls, that I do recall. You do not have the access codes to this room. Really? Interesting. Alright, well, we've still got a few minutes. I guess we'll push over here. Get ourselves a foothold on the far platform. Yes, and this now gives us an easy access path back and forth, so we can double back to the steam pipes if need be.
Dordle.
The most likely source for our access code is either the survivor up there or Dement's Hanuman. Wow. Seems kind of eerily empty all of a sudden. Oop. Oh. Interesting. Right, okay. There should be an alternate path over here somewhere. Yeah, right there.
Is there money to be made?
I actually don't think this worked back in Alpha. But I'm assuming they fixed it since then. Yes, good. See, I do very distinctly remember that from Alpha because it did not work properly. It did not meet my crate expectations.
A trivial task.
I always keep my options open.
This large device is a cargo lift used for transporting parts. The CyberGuard accepts the access codes and sets mysterious mechanisms in motion. Oh, that's, nice, okay. The rumor that just cleared, that's the one we got when we explored the third of the missing ships from Kiava Gamma. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name now. The Firewalker? Something like that? Let's see what we got. Ooh, here we go. Flamer Digiweapon. A marvelous compact weapon in the form of a ring that allows the wearer to fire a single flamer shot stream once per combat. Which, to be perfectly blunt, is very underwhelming. Thus, I suppose, continuing the trend of Digiweapons just not being all that great. Though we did pull another Masterwork Power Maul. Might have some use for that.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
Okay, not bad. Nothing particularly exciting, but a fair chunk of cargo. Not to mention another item off our to-do list. Oh, shoot. Looks like we also missed this item back here. Which I can't imagine is anything notable, but I do hate to leave it hanging. One sec. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Alright, folks, I feel like that brings us to a good place to call it. We encountered Cubist Delphine, we took out a fair chunk of his followers, we cleared about half of the foundry. I feel like that's a fair bit of progress. We'll hit the pause button for now, I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping. And we will pick up here next time, as we delve ever deeper into this manufactorum of mayhem. We've already encountered untold horrors, but who knows what new nightmares it's yet to convey. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Erie B23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
But of course, Lord Captain,